to episode 22 of the New Millennium Falcon podcast. We've been away, but we've been working hard. The boys have been down in Mobile all last week doing some up close and personal Senior Bowl coverage. I'm super happy to say that we are back together. I'm joined by Fleet, Savion, and Hunter. Guys, how's everybody doing? It's been a little while.
Bro, I'm awesome. Like, I'm so excited. I've been
Fleet,
waiting for this day for
Fleet?
so long. Me, not a thing. Working. Working. You mentioned that I may have been watching The Last of Us. I actually have not started The Last of Us because I have not recommitted to HBO Max. Okay. I'm close because I love The Last of Us games. So they're getting me. I'm staying away from spoilers though. Yeah,
you're gonna be I think you're gonna be pretty happy.
Okay, I like to
if
hear
you do
that.
subscribe, and then if you don't, there's always the make a new email game. I think HBO Max is still offering a free 7-day subscription.
I'm always down for that.
Clearly, we're not a sponsor, but I'm very familiar with their packages that they offer. So, Savion,
sure. Absolutely.
Hunter, how was Mobile? How are we doing?
I mean, Dreamland barbecue though.
My God. My God.
We ate with legends. I don't know, not many people know this, but we happened to stop by and see Dan Marino, of all people.
What?
So Dan Marino was at Dreamland. So that for me, I already knew we were at the right place because if a Hall of Famer is eating barbecue there,
So Dan Marino was there. Trevor Sycamore was there. We were eating with the lovely Alex Casson and JP Acosta.
That's right. So nice. Star-studded event at Dreamland, as you can tell.
Nice.
Savion, how we doing?
I'm fantastic. I unfortunately was not at that Dreamland rendezvous. That kind of hurt my heart. Now that you guys are telling me about everything that occurred, did not know.
Yeah.
All of that, great. But no, I'm fantastic, man. Mobile was amazing. The only thing that I will say is that I don't know what's going on with the infrastructure up there when it comes to traffic. Airport Boulevard is just a maze, and there's no reason for it.
Yeah. Airport Boulevard was definitely something else. The civil engineers who are responsible for that, I'm sure they've paid for their crimes by now, but well,
have they? Are we sure about that? Can we
not
get
enough
confirmation for that?
They have
not
canes.
enough.
They have a canes on airport, and that alone makes the road worthwhile.
Is it worth being trapped in the service road for an hour, though? That is the question that we were all trying to figure out.
By far, at least for me.
That's right. That was Savion's first time having canes, and
I still have not had canes.
I'm telling you, bro.
You guys got to take a road trip. I think there's one down there in Dogland over in Athens. So
there is one
if
in
not,
Athens.
I'm not sure where the other ones are, but
yeah. I'm gonna hit the one in Athens pretty soon, bro. I already told myself I got to get into it.
Bro, it's God's chicken right there.
Gotta find out. Whoa.
Well, hold on. Whoa. There's a name for that. That's Chick-fil-A.
I don't know. There's another brand that's pretty committed to
that's
that.
God's chicken. They're pretty. They're pretty big on that about being God's chicken.
Fine. It's God's guilty pleasure. How about that?
Okay. That's crazy.
I gotta taste that. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I gotta taste it now.
Sounds like we need a Raising Cane sponsorship. That's what it sounds like.
Please. Need it. Anyways.
Yo, Trey, tell us about your experience in Mobile.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah, I was, it was great. It was good to be back in the South. Always love, going back, getting some of the best food in the country. Dreamland was just the tip of the iceberg. It was Cane's Cookout, pub subs. I mean, we really enjoyed ourselves down there, and already been working it off since getting back and feeling the guilt. But it was great. It was great to be around you guys. I feel like every like Hunter was surprised at how accurate I think I kind of like anticipated everybody being height wise and everything like that. Scott was the only person, shout out to you on Twitter, that was right. I'm not 6'5", I'm about 6'4", but you were pretty close, Scott. So
okay, hold on, wait, hold on. What? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I saw a tweet about that because Aaron Freeman, shout out to him. I seen y'all may have crossed paths.
Oh yeah, I was looking
a
down
few
at Aaron all
times.
weekend. Aaron's
Like
about
they
6'2".
he was saying, everyone was either taller or shorter than anticipated. So now here I am at work thinking, who's taller or shorter than I anticipate? So how tall are y'all? Because you just say you're 6'4".
Yeah, I'm 6'4". Savion's like solid like 6'1", and Hunter's over there, representing at about 5'7". Short king.
Me and Hunter, the short kings of the group, bro. I'm like 5'11",
Yo, Fleek,
5'10".
I don't know why everybody thought I was so short. It's kind of messed up.
Me in person.
Yeah, no, Hunter, I know, but I don't know why Trayshawn. No offense, because this shouldn't offend you.
Did
Did
I just sell him on a new height for you?
No, wait. Okay,
Fleek, forget what you've seen about Hunter. That man is 5'7".
In my mind, I'm like, okay, 5'7" sound kind of crazy because I'm 5'10", 5'11". I'm like, I've stood next to Hunter. There's no way. There's no way.
That you questioned it. No.
That is insane. Are you really 6'4"?
This is master salesmanship right here.
No way.
This
If Trayshawn actually 6'4", Savion,
salesmanship.
I believe you, Savion.
Aaron,
don't bring me into this,
bro.
Don't bring me into this, bro. He called me 6'1". I'm happy.
I feel like people would have gone in knowing. People would have gone in suspecting that I was like shorter. So of course, when Aaron puts that out there, it means I'm.
All I'm saying is the website. The website would put Trey at 6'4". Do with that what you will. The website will put him at 6'4".
Okay. I like it. I like it.
So speaking of Giants at the Senior Bowl, let's talk about some of these offensive prospects that we saw this weekend, fellas. There was a lot going on. We were really focused on the trenches and the wide receiver group because obviously, team has needs there. Took a little peek at the running back group as well. Saw some guys that wouldn't be too bad to add to Tyler Algier in case the Bijan Robinson dream does not come true. Dream or nightmare, depending on what side of the fence that you sit on. But let's start with the trenches, guys. Who from this week really stood out to you? Who is somebody that you thought would really like to see the Falcons take them? Whether it be second, third round, kind of whatever your plan would be, and take it from there. I'm gonna let Fleek start off with this one.
So as I was telling the guys earlier, I kind of have been out of the loop, but from the little that I did see, I really have more so of prospects I like from clips. I haven't dove deep into film, so I'm actually going to ask for y'all's help on a few of these guys because I didn't get to see. And if we're starting with the trench players, is this offense first?
Yeah, we're doing offense.
Okay, tell me what you guys saw from Osiris Torrance from Florida.
Yeah, he's a mauler, dude.
Massive. Yeah. From the clips I've seen, I liked it. I heard that he's like, a huge guard. Does he have flexibility in that, or is that a guy that we should be looking at?
He's a guard.
But yeah, definitely a guard.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a guard.
Yeah, he's somebody that I think I wouldn't be upset if the team took him. There might be some other options that we saw there from this weekend. Hunter, was there anybody that you saw that really stood out to you?
I'd be lying if I didn't bring up Cody Malk. That dude is legit. Like, it's like Quinn Miners and Caleb and Gary had a baby. I'm pretty sure you said that, Trey, and put it in my mind, and it never left. And we watched him. Was it before the first practice, or was it before or after the first practice? We watched him in the B&B.
It was after the first practice. Yeah, it was after day one. We went back to the B&B and we started looking at some of his film.
And that dude, I think that guy's a left guard at the next level. Like, I think he's an immediate plug and play. Would be our starting left guard in a heartbeat. And I think he'd fit exactly what we want to do. He's quick, agile, can pull well, hit the second level well, decent enough anchor. Gets a little top heavy sometimes, but like to be expected. That he's a player switching positions. He looked really good in teams. Like when playing next to someone, he just looked really, really good. So Cody Malk is my guy.
Yeah, Malk played all three positions, including center. So it was really nice to see that versatility. Like Hunter said, he believes he's a left guard, and I think I think everybody there did too. That was pretty much the position he played primarily the whole week. he was a left tackle in college. So he's somebody that I agree. I think would be a really nice fit for this team. And you always like guys that can do a little bit more. And I don't know, man. He looked pretty comfortable at center too. So it'd be really interesting to see what some teams decide to do with him moving forward. Savion?
As you can see, I'm over here looking through the notes. I wasn't.
That's right. My man was working hard.
Shout out to Savion.
Yeah, now I will say I was not part of the trench play watching. Not at I won't say not at all, but I definitely had a niche when I went down there. But I'm going to leave the bona fide prospect to you, Trayshawn, because I think you'll give us more insight on him. But one guy that I liked in the few flashes that I saw him was Jared Patterson from Notre Dame. I mean, he had not a rocky week, but a very uneventful week. But there were flashes of of stuff that you saw on film. The way that he can finish a block and the way that he can sort of dominate at the point of attack. I kind of enjoyed that. So I'll keep my eyes on him more than anything else.
Cool. I like that. But for me, there were two guys. I thought somebody was going to take. I think the prospect you thought I was going to bring up. So I'm gonna talk about John Michael Schmitz. That's the center out of Minnesota. Most people coming in, I think it was pretty much where had him as the top interior O lineman, and he was. He was a guy that pretty much had his way most of the time there. And he obviously everybody the thing to remember about this is everybody loses reps, and it's about how you lose them and bounce back from them. Schmitz may have lost his reps, but he fought in every single one of them. He's a guy that immediately got up, and you could see him. He's taking mental reps. He's figuring out what he just did. He's talking to the coach. So you see all the intangibles, the leadership factors, and the things like that you want. Huge center. Power was something that Hunter and I both had questions about when we looked at his film. And, for everything that we saw, at the practice, didn't seem to be an issue at all. He got to see him get out in the screen game. There was a big block he put on the Sacramento State linebacker Matu or Mapu, I think.
My boy Mapu, bro.
Mapu.
FCS man to FCS man.
That's right.
Absolute combine snub. I can't believe it.
That one's shocking, and we'll get into defense tomorrow because there's a few guys I think that were combine snub from the linebacker group. But yeah, John Michael Schmitz, man, if you need a center in this draft, you don't even want to worry about it. That's your guy. You just draft him. I think he was somebody that I had questions about if he could fit in an outside zone scheme at the next level, but I don't really have any of those concerns anymore. You got to see him do a lot of the one-on-one run blocking drills. He had no problem, crossing face, getting to the next level, all the things that you need to see from the center. And yeah, the other guy I want to mention really quickly would be Jalen Duncan out of Maryland. This is somebody I literally knew absolutely nothing about coming in. Not even going to pretend that I knew about this guy already. He was awesome. He was a stone wall at the left side. He had a little bit of trouble when he's moved to right tackle, but watched him handle Keon White with no problems in one-on-ones, which was like, wow, that was a guy that had the kind of week where people are talking about him sneaking up into the first round now is Keon White. So I think Duncan is somebody where it's like a pick that people might question, why would we do that? But, when you think about depth, when you think about the future and having like a strong O-line unit all across the board, I think of people talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. They draft at the O-line and D-line all the time. And when they have guys that go down and get injured, they somehow have some 325-pound, behemoth athlete right behind him who can pretty much pick it up and you don't have to worry about it. So it's another guy that I thought was really cool this week. So moving on now, let's talk about wide receivers. Now, this is a group that we were all very interested in coming in. Falcons, have a big need there. Feelings around, most of the space is that there's no real wide receiver 2 on this team yet. And that, outside of Bird, there's no consistent speed threat And we're not talking about just deep ball speed, but we're talking about intermediate. We're talking about, across the whole field. It's something that the Falcons wide receiving game was lacking on. So, Fleek, I know you watch the skill guys. I know you
that
watch the skill guys. I'm gonna let you take it first on this one. Tell me who from the Senior Bowl.
The one guy I was very, very interested in was Tank Dell. And I know he's a smaller guy. I know he's around 5'9", 165 to 170. But, I love quick twitch players. And, his start and stop ability is crazy to me. He has top end speed. I feel like he is the type of player that the Falcons offense is lacking. I know Arthur Smith loves his sizey receivers, his bigger guys. And I know we need a guy that knows how to block, and I'm not sure where Tank Dell ranks in that category, but I know he goes real fast. So right. I'm into Tank Dell.
Tank blew the doors off this thing, man. He was he was killing it. He shut it down by day 3 because at that point, after you've broken everybody's ankles, what else do you need to prove? And if it weren't for some errant throws, you would have seen him have even more catches than he did. So I like that pick a lot. And I think he came in at 172 when he weighed in at the Senior Bowl, which is a plus for him. Like you said, I think he was listed and suspected to be around the 160s. So seeing him in that 170 area, that was solid. Savion?
Nice.
There's so many receivers that I loved from. I got to say, this is one of the more talented position groups. So to bring it to one for the Falcons, I have to say Jaden Reed from Michigan State. He showed, like you said when you introduced the segment, he showed speed to beat you downfield, to beat you vertically. He showed speed in the intermediate. He showed a suddenness out of his breaks. It was amazing to watch the entire week. Whoever was against him, especially the corner from Maryland, he somehow got matched up with him a lot. I'm very sorry for him. Yeah, he did. He really did. But
not having a good time.
No, and I feel bad for Bennett because that's just not fair. But yeah, he had an amazing week. He showed a lot of versatility both in the slot and outside, which I saw from all of the quote unquote speed guys. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, if anybody was going to, and he has a way to high point the football down the field and on the side. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's nice.
That was nice, man. And speed, consistent factor so far from both you guys. Speed. So, sign me up for anybody who's gonna, run a little bit faster than a 4.5 or something like that. It'd be nice to have a 4.4 guy, or not asking for too much, Arthur. Just a 4.4 guy. You got to be 4.3, but Hunter.
So
who did you see this week?
I'm not gonna steal your boy because I know who you're waiting on to talk about. I'm not gonna steal him, but
man, you hang out with these guys for a week and they just know you so well. They think they know exactly who you are. All right.
Okay, I mean I can take him if you want me to, but I'm not going to.
I know who you're gonna talk about.
I'm gonna talk about Trey Tucker from Cincinnati.
Oh.
I was thinking about going with Xavier Hutchinson, but I decided to go with Trey Tucker just because we watched him a lot more this week because, or at least I did. I kind of figured he's going to be high on our radar because of a previous connection with Desmond Ridder. And he looks like a good complement to what we already have in Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Shifty, solid receiver, can be moved around at the line of scrimmage. I think he'd be a decent Z in the offense and replace Zacchaeus. I don't know if he's that great, to be honest, but I think he's a guy that would fit what we're trying to do fairly well. I just don't know about his upside and what people might expect from him. But I like what I saw from this week.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Yeah, I gotta agree with that.
On all points. This next person, and the only reason I'm mentioning them is because they scream Arthur Smith wide receiver. And that's pretty much why I'm just kind of I know we all want speed. I know we all want the fastest guy, but I just kind of feel like Arthur's going to be Arthur. And Michael Wilson out of Stanford, Man, of all the guys there, that was the most Arthur Smith wide receiver. A little bit of a contested catch guy, but he does offer you some pretty nice route running. He is somebody who profiles as like a power slot, which, we've got about 2 or 3 of those on the roster right now. But the man's blocking film is just absolutely disgusting. His pancaking guy is about 25 yards down the field. He's brought in line during the run game at Stanford. I mean, the dude just loves to hit people, and it shows up all over his film. And he had a really solid week at the Senior Bowl. He was able to get open and actually create separation with just his route running ability. He came down with a really, tough catch in the corner of the end zone during a team session. And he had a nice, jump ball, catch in the Senior Bowl game, which is, kind of his game. I'm a little apprehensive, of course, about, another contested catch guy. But there's a young man out of Princeton who I will just say, I'm a believer. I know he didn't have the greatest week, but
didn't need to.
I think that's somebody we could look at. But I'm going to go with Michael Wilson as somebody that the Falcons who will seriously look at.
Have one more guy real quick before we can move on. Trey Palmer said that he might run a 4.240 in the combine, so watch out for him. And he showed all of that type of speed at the Senior Bowl. So
he was a very fast man. I think the 4.2 at this point, seems like a curse. I don't know. Go look at the guys that have run those 40s, and I feel like I'd pull back. Purposely run like a 4.3 just to be safe, man, because there's something about that 4.2 group that
it's a curse.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Want to know why? Because the body's not supposed to move that fast.
Yeah.
We ain't built for that.
No. Exactly. Humans aren't built for that. That's why.
Mm-mm. So let's talk about where I think we'll probably more likely to end up with one of these guys from the Senior Bowl. So another running back at 8. So
running back at 8.
Let's talk about the running backs at the Senior Bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and just throw a name out there, and I don't know if I'm gonna be stealing this name, but Spears out of Tulane.
Yep, I'll go say.
Boy, he ran the nastiest whip route of the entire practice week. The poor linebacker out of Pitt,
Savassier.
Savassier got sauced. There's no other way to put it. Absolutely. Anytime somebody's looking around on one-on-ones, it's not a good sign for your rep. And
terrible.
Spears offers that, everybody might say, well, kind of similar to Avery Williams in a way, sure, but he's a lot more refined as an actual running back. He's somebody that will give you, I think, a little bit more in the pass game as well. And, when you're looking at Algier and you're looking at his kind of his run game and the style that he plays, this is somebody that would be a really good complementary back, if that's the kind of route you're wanting to go and you're wanting to look at somebody who can take on a little bit of CP duties and stuff like that. So Spears is a name that I really like.
Spears reminds me of Rashad White from last year, a guy who people know on tape, but the Senior Bowl is what really kickstarts his draft trajectory. Good receiver, good back, just a guy that can come in and just be a weapon in some capacity for offenses. And I really do like how Spears played this week.
Yeah.
Showed a ton of explosiveness. Yeah.
Fleek?
I have a question about this guy because I didn't see much about him, but I believe he was at the Senior Bowl. Kenny McIntosh.
Oh yeah,
GA running back.
We got a ton of time with Kenny. Kenny was a great guy to talk to.
Yes.
All 3 of us got interviews with him. Solid dude.
That's awesome.
He was good.
Yeah, I like him as a receiving back out of the backfield. He brings an explosiveness that I think will be good to add with Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier is a dog, a menace. So I don't think we necessarily need to do anything crazy at 8. But Kenny McIntosh is an option later rounds. I'm not sure what round he's projected to go. But if you're looking for an explosive guy out of the backfield and someone who can catch the ball out of the backfield, if CP does slow down in production out of the backfield, I think Kenny McIntosh is a great pickup.
Yeah, Kenny, I think offers you a lot as like an actual receiver in the slot too. Georgia like to put him out there quite a bit. I think the route running needs a little bit of refinement, but the man never dropped a ball in his college football career, so he's definitely somebody that offers a lot as a receiver.
Can we talk about how Fleet kind of just like slid his Bijan, his anti-Bijan agenda in there, like real
trying.
smooth? Like he
Hey.
didn't mention the man's name at all. He just said, that's crazy. We really don't need to be looking at running back at 8.
He's not wrong.
I will say this though. I'm not as against it as I was. That's all I'll say. But I still don't think that's the move. But
no, Kenny McIntosh, what he brings to the receiving game is just as good as what he brings to the running game.
I think Kenny would be awesome just for like what he brings to the locker room.
After talking to that guy, 100%.
Like, I asked Kenny what his go-to order at Chick-fil-A is, and that man ordered the whole damn menu. Like, he's like, I want a number 1 deluxe, I want a large fry, I want a milkshake, no whipped cream or cherry, I want a 4-piece chicken strip, I want a large fruit punch to wash it all down. And he just he was cool. Kenny was cool, and I would love to add him to the locker room. Like, he's fun.
Yeah,
the guy.
He can be the new CP. Tweeting at free agents and shit.
Yeah,
amazing.
not bad. All right, Hunter.
I'm gonna talk about the other Texas running back, Roschon Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't butcher the name there, did I? But that man was playing at a lights out level the first couple days of practice. He was looking phenomenal. Like, had he not been behind Bijan, dude would have been a star somewhere else. And he's a quarterback converted to running back, so that's always fun. And I don't know. I think he'd be a really fun mid-round guy for us to pick up and just be a nice compliment to Tyler Algier and take some pressure off of him.
Yeah. And Roschon showed something that nobody else was able to show this week, but that man broke his hand at the beginning of the first day of practice and finished the day without saying anything about it till the end. So just to know the kind of level of competitor and athlete that he is. And like Hunter said, he's blowing people away with a broken hand. So, I'm big on him as well. I agree with Hunter. I think he's somebody that would have been a star at any other school. He just happened to have, the best running back in the nation in front of him. And he was the number 11 dual threat QB coming out of high school. So this is a guy that's a real athlete. And like Hunter said, that's always fun.
Ooh, definitely.
Savion?
My guy, I gotta say, like, if Arthur says, you know what, I like Tyler Algier, I'm gonna need another Tyler Algier back there, just so that the defense doesn't catch a break. Evan Hull is definitely the guy from Northwestern. Mm-hmm. I mean, that dude right there, he's actually got a little bit more explosion than I would have expected. Maybe a little bit more than Tyler Algier when he was coming out. So that might be might be fun. But him in pass blocking and just him as a receiver, he looks comfortable catching the ball out of the backfield. The guy is just he really is a Tyler Algier clone with maybe a little bit more explosiveness to start. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Evan's a guy that definitely played his way into a combine invite too. I don't think he was quite on track for that yet. And then he had everybody was talking about him by the end of the week. He was, I think, one of the bigger surprises to come out of the game. So love that pick. And yeah, if you just want to bully people and just, like we did with Caleb last year and Tyler, just kind of just keep, punching somebody in the face and until they want to quit, and
if you want a third one of those,
man win.
Yeah, if you want a third one of those, that's a perfect guy to have.
Yeah.
What about that?
Well, guys, I don't know if we'll necessarily be looking at anybody from this group, but I'm gonna let the QB connoisseur go ahead and this will be a fun one just for to try and see what we can come up with. Talk to me about your favorite QB
My
from
favorite
the week, there,
QB.
Hunter.
My favorite QB was Max Duggan's agent.
Oh gosh,
Like, bro, it was
Oh.
after I think the Wednesday practice. This Max Duggan hype just started from the middle of nowhere after the man had been just dog water the past 2 days of practice. And all of a sudden, Jerry Jones is like, Max Duggan really stood out. Like, did he, bro? Did he? Like, no.
I mean, he
Well,
kind of
yes.
did.
I mean, he
Yeah,
stood
he
out,
did.
but, like, not in a good way, yeah. But, like, Max Duggan's agent, it was just lights out this week with gassing up those guys. But if I had to pick somebody that actually, like, stood out, whether that be good or bad, it was honestly Max Duggan. I was painfully disappointed with what I saw from him this week. Especially, like, on tape, it was hard to sit here and gauge how good he actually was because Garrett Riley can just scheme everyone open, and it works. But seeing him even throwing his air, like, he was struggling to hit the net, like, hit the passing net. It was really disappointing. He looked like he just could not shake off whatever he had on his mind throughout the entire week. Like, even at the pressers, he just looked like he didn't want to be anywhere around. You could tell he was beating
Quite a
himself
few
up.
Georgia players at the event.
Probably has something to do with that, some PTSD or something. But, like, man, Max Duggan really let me down because, like, this QB crop was not very good, like, on paper. But, like, you get a guy that led a team to the Natty, you expect him to be solid.
Yeah.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing from Duggan.
Yeah, I gotta agree. It was a little disappointing, and then it's just one of those things. Kind of first time experience being there, and then seeing the other side of media and how reports can work, and it's just kind of a good reminder about always being careful where you get your information from. Hunter, I do have a question for you. Who is Mac's agent?
Don't do this.
Since we're gonna
Don't do this, guys. Come on, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hunter, can you
Wait
tell
a
me who
minute.
Max's agent is?
What are we doing here?
I'm
What are we
pretty
doing
sure
here?
we confirmed it's Desmond Ritter's agent.
Oh, that's right.
Allegedly,
Another
it's Desmond-
QB that had a lot of
allegedly.
really good news coming out about them during the Senior Bowl, but many said didn't quite line up last year.
It's allegedly Desmond Ritter's agent. I'm not trying to get sued, and I'm not trying to get sued about the rumored story of another player at the Senior Bowl that we cannot talk about on air.
So, I just didn't know who the agent was. I just forgot.
I just forgot.
Yeah, man.
I just forgot. So, Savion, any quarterbacks, pique your interest for better or for worse? Anybody that you thought, what, maybe this is Brock Purdy, and I just don't know it yet.
Yeah, no. Not gonna hold you, no. But I will say that no, you didn't. So I will say that I did like some of the stuff that what is it? Tyson Bagent showed. He showed that he can hit anything as long as it's inside the numbers.
Yeah. He's kind of the anti Malik Willis, we said.
Exactly.
He hits anything if it's in front of him. If it's towards the outside, not so much, and he's not really a runner.
We watched the man sail
Killer
4
arm
straight corners. Like 4 straight corner passes just sailed.
Yeah.
What's the one thing though? He'll dial you up inside the numbers though.
And his father's like a 30-time world champion arm wrestler, so it's like at least like I'm sure that those skills have been passed on, and that'll be fun for the locker room. I can see him and Frank Darby doing some videos, arm wrestling. Who knows? Starting their new careers as their own 2-man circus. Fleek, anybody? No? Okay, that's all right.
No, I seen one name. It was Jake Hayner. I don't know much about Jake Hayner, but apparently he had a pretty good, solid week. I'm sitting here literally watching him now, trying to act like I know who he is.
Do you know what school he went to, Fleek?
San Diego, Fresno State? Yeah.
That's right.
There
Hey,
you go.
we're in
Fresno State.
California, right? He's California, and the colors are red. That's all that
Jake
matters.
Hayner's a dog, bro.
Somewhere in that area, bro. But yeah, nah. But I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I didn't look at any of these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm not interested in any of these quarterbacks at all. I actually went into the week thinking that Max Duggan would have a good week though, because he, did take his team to the national championship and whatnot. But all the reports that I got back from him were not great, except for his agent, which is a nice cherry on top to know. But no one stood out. Nobody.
Trey, I really feel like that you're pushing something here, and I don't like it.
I am just
Really-
reporting the facts, my man.
I really
don't
feel like
know.
you're pushing
I
something here.
Trey said, "Don't
Agent.
shoot the
This is
messenger,
interesting.
bro."
Listen, all I'm
Interesting.
gonna say about the QBs is
Look, if Max
Arthur
Duggan
Blank.
starts working out with Palmer, I'm not going.
Bro.
I'm just letting you know.
Listen,
No
when Arthur
way.
Blank says he likes our young QB, I think we can leave it at that.
Yeah. Well.
Hey,
I
we
don't
didn't
want to
mention
talk.
that,
I don't
but
want to talk
yeah.
about the Senior Bowl QBs anymore, Trey. That's the whole reason I'm trying to move past this.
Does Arthur
Yeah.
Blake have the best judging character when it comes to quarterbacks? Can we think about that for a second and just kind of like,
So on to other news.
should we be aligning ourselves with who he likes? These are things I ask myself.
These are things I ask myself.
Is this a Rich McKay tweet?
You know,
He's
Well,
making
hey, I
solid
didn't say
points
it's
right now, bro.
I'm just saying.
Real quick. Before we go any further, I know we already talked about receivers, but I had a question. Did Rashee Rice have a good week?
Yes, he did.
Rice
Solid.
had a
Okay.
really good, especially like towards the end of the week. He really started to turn it on in one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice short area burst, good route running.
his-
I liked him a lot in the red zone drills. I thought
I
that
loved
he
him in
really
the red
shined
zone.
there. That's where he was
Okay.
like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the route running because I thought he'd be a pretty decent route runner for what I've seen of him. But okay, it's good to know that translated.
Yeah, no, it definitely did.
Okay.
So, well, you know what, boys? We got some time. Let's
We've been gone a while.
we've been gone a while. We haven't really haven't really talked much about it, but you know what? Let's kind of get a sense of everybody's feeling about the year we just had. You know, we have not gotten to kind of vent or talk about this as a group. So, you know, I'm really interested to hear now that it's all said and done. You know, we're a little bit into the off season now. Things are starting to move towards the draft. We got the combine coming up very soon. Free agency is going to be here before you know it, and then we're really going to have a better idea of what's going on. Yeah, how's everybody feeling about it? Fleek, I'll let you go ahead and start us off. You know, let us know. You know, how have you been taking in the off season?
Pretty good. Like I feel pretty decent. I feel like we had a season that was kind of a up and down. It was like a roller coaster. It was really weird. I mean, we started off hotter than we thought we would. We looked a little bit better than expected. Then things kind of started going downhill with the QB play in the middle of the season. Eventually straggled along to where Ritter started for the last 4 games, and that was still kind of disappointing because I still to this day wish we had more games last season to watch him work. But as a season in total, I guess I would say it was a success because I feel like we furthered the process in building the ethos of what Arthur Smith wants the Falcons to be. The identity.
Right there,
yeah, hey, I told you I was gonna remember that word because Terry Fontenot wouldn't let me forget it. And I think we furthered that mindset in that process and feeling like, hey, we're gonna create an identity here. We're gonna figure this thing out, and I still have faith. Even more faith now in Arthur Smith than I did after year 1, I think, just because of what he did with what he had. Him and Terry, I should say, have been doing a pretty good job, in my opinion. So, looking back on the season, man, I'm excited. I feel like, I'm not saying we're a few pieces away, but I do think that we're finally at the part of the rebuild where we can start adding the names and the pieces to the puzzle. And I feel like now things should start clicking a bit more going forward. So I'm just looking forward to what that process looks like.
All right. Hunter?
Yes. So for me, it's been one of those like kind of like we were saying. I was like optimistic with how it was going around the midpoint of the season, and I knew things were starting to be too good to be true. And then we came crashing back down to reality, and Marcus Mariota turned back into a pumpkin, and things just went downhill from there. And I was worried about how we were going to approach this offseason because there were a few ways that we could have gone about it. But I've really liked the way we've kind of handled things so far. I like that we took our time, stepped outside of the organization for DC. I like that we were like at Shrine. I like that we had guys at Senior Bowl, obviously. And I mean, Trey, we were sitting across from them. Like,
we were sitting. They were right next to us.
Trey said Jalen Mayfield, then they ran off.
Yeah, I questioned.
That's insane.
Little quick aside. I just mentioned when I was there, I was like, boy, it sure would have been nice for Jalen Mayfield to be here because then we never would have drafted him. But anyways.
But like,
and they left.
And then they left.
I
love the Ryan Nielsen pickup at DC.
Yes.
I know that not everybody's like as on board as it or with it as I am. People wanted Flores, people wanted Avero, people wanted Fangio, whatever. I like getting Nielsen. Like I think that was a good pickup. I am worried though about how we're going to replace Charles London because that hurt. That's a big loss that I think a lot of people aren't going to focus on because he was. I mean, you saw it with Ritter. He got better each week, and I'm sure London had a lot to do with that, with just helping him become a pro. I hope they just slide TJ Yates over to try to keep some continuity in building.
I was just going to ask you if you thought that was what the move might possibly be.
That's what I would do. If I was in those shoes, I would slide TJ Yates over. But I there's no telling. Arthur Smith has kind of baffled me at times with some of the staffing hires. Not to say they've been bad. I've just been like, oh, that's out of like left field. Like the Dave Ragone being OC, I would have never saw that coming ever.
How would you feel about him sliding to work with double as QB coach?
Oh, double? Oh no!
Yeah,
no. I don't think.
No. Promotion, yes. Double, hell no.
Yeah. I mean, no. I wouldn't want Ragone. I want like somebody to specialize with our QB. We don't have a staff like cap number like you do at the collegiate level. There's zero reason for OCs to double up as QB coaches, in my opinion. But yeah, like I'm cautiously optimistic because I think we ended in a good spot. I think there was stuff to be building on. I think cap-wise, we're in a good spot to be building around. And I think we have, like, a few good pieces at almost every, like, level of the football team. Like, at safety and DBs, you got Grant and A.J. Terrell. At linebackers, that's kind of our biggest question mark. But you have Troy Anderson there, who, whether you like him or not, he was a second-round pick last season. Up front,
and Ryan Nielsen says – yeah.
Do what now?
That's true. No, I was just gonna say, and Ryan Nielsen said he liked what he's seen from Troy, so I'm
he's had
optimistic about that.
4 or 5 phone calls with him already. He mentioned. So.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! That's awesome. And then, like on offense, you got Chris Lindstrom and Jake on the offensive line. You have Tyler Algier in the backfield at wide receiver, and just guys catching the ball. You have Kyle Pitts in London. Like that's some good pieces all the way through, which makes me like wonder like. What is our ceiling realistically? We were talking about it earlier in the group chat, and I know me and Jack were arguing about it, but I think if Ritter takes the step forward and is a competent QB, I think 11 games is attainable if we do the rest of the offseason right. Because like we have a fourth place schedule, we have the easiest strength of schedule. I just think there's a lot to look forward to, but I don't think we should be jumping to the oh my god we're gonna win the South like some people have, and I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic.
All right. Savion?
So, losing Charles London sucks, but I will say one thing. You remember at the beginning of this year when we were sitting here, we were like, if we have 7 wins going into this year, I could live with that. And then we got 7 wins, and then all of a sudden nobody liked it. And the reason why is because we were in so many games, especially like the first Saints game, the beginning of the season. And the fact that, that we've looked so competitive with the
Fleek,
talent that we have. Wow.
Fleek, is today your birthday?
Yes, today is my birthday.
Hunter, we were gonna save that for the end, but thank you for
Yeah.
interrupting Savion.
Sorry, I just thought on Twitter. I didn't know.
That's so crazy.
Just cut that man off mid-thought.
I've gone this whole day not seeing it was Fleek's birthday.
Well, you're a bad friend. Me and Savion both already told him happy birthday like good friends. So put that out there too.
Oh my gosh.
It's like 10 p.m. My guy's barely making it under the limit over there.
Hey, I know how it be. I am not good with those either. I'm not good with that stuff. So Hunter, I don't blame you, bro. I appreciate you for acknowledging it.
I blame
Savion
Elon.
Thought.
I blame Elon.
Yeah, the timeline's all messed up, right? Yeah, so how could you have known, really?
Yeah.
Sorry, Savion.
So, long story short, I mean, I'm very happy with the direction that we're going in with what Arthur Blank said today. It looks like we're not really in the market for another starter. Sure, you'll talk about that a little bit more, Trey. But I don't know, man. I'm optimistic. I don't even know if it's cautious anymore. I think I might be recklessly optimistic. I'm not going to say we're going to win the South or anything, but I definitely do think that we're going to have some success this year, especially with the way that we've attacked the defensive side of the football already this offseason. I really hope that's a thing that is like a omen for things to come.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I'm so interested to see what Trey Sean about to say.
Yeah, right.
Really am.
I think this is going to be like one of the. This is going to sound so funny because of like our fan base and like everything that it comes to when it comes to interacting with Falcons space. But like, I think that's going to be like one of the last like least stressful seasons we have for a while because it never really mattered. And like you definitely got excited and like we saw things that we liked and like, but we were all looking at the game from like a totally different perspective this year. Like Savion had mentioned, it was like if you got 7 wins, it was like, oh, okay, cool, nice, like that's pretty solid. Most of us were just kind of like, all right, who's on the squad, who's staying, who's going, which of these young guys are like making the cut. How are these draft picks looking? Is Jalen Mayfield going to play this year? It's like insane that he actually like did not play this year.
That's crazy.
And, we just kind of went through the season. You saw them compete. Like Fleek mentioned, you're starting to see the identity. You're really starting to see, who they are come together. And, the biggest complaint is pretty much just like, they kind of got in their own way when it came to the quarterback situation this year. And, you make the argument that we're in the playoff hunt and it's like you were, but you weren't winning. So I think like, hopefully they separate the idea of being in a playoff hunt based on like mathematical, percentages and everything like that versus like being a good team. And I don't think it's really going to matter that much this year because I do think that, I think Desmond Ridder is going to be the plan. It just doesn't feel like it feels like they're shot to take on a big QB or do anything like that crazy was last year, which is why they like went for it because it was like, okay, it's year 2. We're already planning on kind of throwing this year away. You guys talked about it, for next year. For me, it's like you have winning expectations. you have playoff expectations. You got 2 free years. That's really chill in this business.
Yeah.
like
Very
there's
Yeah,
true.
people
no, that's
there's
true.
people that get 1 year. Like we just watched the Texans. Like I can't believe, whatever that is. Like I was just gonna fire 2 head coaches back to back, single year, no big deal, whatever. So like you've been given a grace period. That's a luxury like nobody in this profession gets. So it's playoffs or bust, I think, going into this next year. And that sounds crazy to say right now because nothing's happened in free agency, nothing's happened in the draft, but that's how they chose to go about this whole thing, right? Like, it
You're
was, we
right,
are
bruh.
going to do the foundation. We're gonna focus on building up something right, and then once we get to that launch pad, like y'all better look out. So it's y'all better look out time, and
So now they better go do it, right?
you got to
Yeah.
get it
They got to
done.
go do it.
There's no more like, oh well, we got to let them get their guys. It's year 3. You got your guys. You've got your
Yep.
scheme in here. You've gotten control. You've been handpicking coaches. You've got the young DC that you think that you said shares your exact football mentality. And I'm not saying Pease didn't, but this is a different hire in the sense that these guys are now more connected, I think, as like football professionals and how they approach the game than Pease and Arthur were. So
Peace felt like
you've
a
got
band-aid.
yeah, like you've got everything you need in the
Yeah.
building. You got another coach who was like DC level and Jerry Gray that people were suspected could, possibly get looked at for real jobs.
Great
You've
pickup.
got a great staff, and you won 7 games this year with like one of the worst rosters in football, and you're going to have the 4th easiest strength of schedule going into next year. Like I can't really give you any leeway. You have
Yeah.
to win games next year. So this is the first offseason that I think it's really cool for all of us. And like, well, I'm glad we're together because now it's like we're evaluating this team as like, hey, like you have to be a winning organization. And, whether or not everybody believes Ritter's the guy, whether or not, the media outside all the noise, it's like we've all been paying close enough attention to this team to where it's like, okay, well, they believe Ritter's the guy. So if they believe Ritter's the guy, I have to believe in them and that they have to have winning expectations because
Mhm.
You know
you
what?
can't sell me anything else at this point.
Can I be honest right now? Since we're talking about expectations and stuff going forward, right? And tell me if y'all agree or tell me if I'm just talking out of my mind right now. We all talked about how taking Ritter in the 3rd made it not such a serious situation, and you're not hitching your wagon to him because he's a 3rd round pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But Trey, if the things that you're saying are true, if this is playoff or bust, if that's the expectation, right? You screwed yourself for real giving Ritter 4 games last year. Unless they just know, like, okay, in the back of my mind, from what I've seen from this guy and from what I know my guys can do as far as, progressing and helping young guys move forward, that Ritter can be that guy. If Ritter misses and we go like 7-10 again and miss the playoffs, it's gonna look like it's gonna look bad because that's year 3, same thing, back to back to back, different situations each year. Like you're kind of hitching your wagon to Ritter now. You didn't really
Not
do
kind
it
of.
last year, but
You
you kind
are.
of are.
And a lot of people say, oh, it's the Pitts pick that's going to cost this regime. And it's not the Pitts pick. It's this decision with the QB situation. It's like why I talked about saying like my only complaint is how they manage this whole thing, because it's like, all right, if Ritter's a guy, you can't tell me that you made the decision Ritter was the guy based off those 4 games. And like, because if you did, then I'm questioning even more, because I'm like, what, like, seriously, like you had to have seen more in practice, more, you've talked, like you're around the kid every day, like you've had it in your mind, like no, he's the guy year 2. We just didn't really feel like playing him that much this year, and then like the whole thing with the playoffs happened. But that's where I am with this whole situation. Now it's not to say they don't have an easy out or like an easy breakaway from Ritter, because he is just a 3rd round pick, but you go back into QB purgatory. You go back into how do we find the guy? Do we now trade up assets? Do we try to land a free agent? Like, do we, and it's just like being in QB purgatory is like my nightmare because like this is kind of bad now, but it's like if this happens every year for 20 years, then you're the Lions and the Browns, and like you hit like a dark place of football that you don't want to be.
So to go off like the kind of Ritter fear, I guess, I don't think that we're necessarily hitching our wagon to him. I think if it doesn't pan out, then Ritter's just a bridge guy to help us get to our guy. And we're going to go the route of the Chargers or the Eagles, where we're going to build the roster up around him and then get a QB. Because if you look at next year's QB class, there's a lot of good potential guys coming out in that class where it's like, okay, listen, if we do finish at a 7 and 10 spot again or whatever, it's not gonna it's gonna cost some to move up. But like at that point, like you would think that on paper our team is much more complete. And so it's like, okay, that's gonna be our big swing. I think this regime gets a year 4 no matter what. Like that's just kind of my view on it. Like I don't think we're doing a 3 unless like they abysmally shit the bed this year and we only win like 4 games. I think they get a year 4 no matter what, personally.
I think Terry gets a year 4 no matter what.
I don't think Arthur. That's what I was about to say. I don't think Arthur.
I think Terry gets it.
I think Arthur and Terry are tied together. Whether they like it or not, I think they are stuck.
I think it's going to be like Dimitroff and Smith, only because Terry didn't get to pick the head coach. And that's why I'm of the belief that they're not.
Dimitroff didn't pick either one either.
No, but they got picked in the same order where it was the head coach got picked first, and then they added TD, and then they let go of the head coach after his stuff wasn't working, and then they brought in Dan, and then those two were like, all right, this is it. Like, and I kind of feel like Terry's going to get that same leeway because no matter what happens on the field, Terry's 100% done his job off the field because like,
facts.
Yeah, he took Desmond Ridder. That's Arthur Smith though. Like, all over it. That's for your offense that you said you need to succeed, and I'm gonna give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it would take something catastrophic for Arthur to be gone, though. Like even if this team finishes 7-9, I don't think he's gone. I think he hits like hot seat or whatever, maybe. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he gets a year 4 for pretty much anything that's not less than 5 wins.
All right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
boom,
I'd agree with that. Like he's got to have definitely like a 4-win season, and it's got to look pretty nasty, like no injuries or anything like that.
That's exactly the answer I was looking for. Because realistically, right, even if they are guaranteed year 4, that's it. So if you're going to go into that draft and draft a young guy, then you're once again hitching your final wagon to a rookie. And that's my point. And I feel like that's how you end up in QB purgatory.
Yeah.
You know, like
it just feels like a regime usually gets kicked off when that second QB comes around. Like it's usually not a good sign. Like Pace from the after Trubisky didn't work out, which Trubisky was a first round QB is much different than Desmond Ridder. But I don't know. I just get nervous because it's like at that point,
we didn't need to be
trust them.
We didn't have
again.
To be here. That's the thing.
Like, do you let them do this again? Do you give them a 4th? And then, because if you draft a rookie QB in the 4th year, then you're saying that you're going to give them a 5th year because if you're going off the same rules, so then it's just kind of like, are you prolonging the inevitable? I don't know. That's why I hate where we are.
I don't think drafting one gives them a 5th year though, because like if you look at Chicago, like Chicago drafted Fields and then they got canned the next season
because Nagy was awful.
Yeah,
because he was a terrible head coach. Like that wasn't just because if he had shown that he could actually put an offense on the field for Fields, he would have kept his job. Like they were ready to keep him and not, I don't know.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this schedule for next year, and I'm sorry, this is a winnable schedule. I mean, you've got to get 10 out of this. You've got to get 10 out of this.
Yeah.
In my
and I think like we got 7 out of like this year, so it's like, man, it's like terrifying because it's like there is a reality where like Ridder regresses and this team looks like I'm not going to say we'll be as talented, but like you don't want to be the Jets. Like you don't want to like mess around and like I know they didn't win enough to like ruin their draft. But like
I
in a
don't think we have
division
the
like
Jets defense,
ours,
though.
with that schedule, you could legitimately somehow be, 9-8 or whatever, and you had like awful QB play most of the year.
That's the thing, though. 9-8 in the NFC gets you in the playoffs, though.
It gets you I know, and then you gotta
Maybe.
like, and you
And
go
don't get me
from
wrong, you get road graded when you get there, but you get in at least.
yeah. The price to move up
That's
from
the
pick
thing.
16 is a lot different than the price to move up from pick 8 or pick 12. So
I
it's just
I think going forward, at least for the near future, with how things are right now. Now, this is obviously pre-draft, pre-free agency, so we don't know what the teams are really going to do yet and exactly what they're going to look like. But I feel like the easiest way to the playoffs for the Falcons is going to be winning the division.
oh yeah.
That's always the easiest way.
Yeah.
But I think we'll need to win the division, and I think it will be winnable.
It's all going to depend on how good Carolina is, honestly. I feel like New Orleans and Tampa have both executed their competitive windows. They're I'm not going to say they're like non-factors, but
I heard Derek Carr might be playing in that Black Magic soon, though.
I hope so. His last game against the Falcons was one to remember.
I'm pretty sure that you did nothing but just add to what I was saying. Anyway, anyway, the way Carolina scares me because they already have a young defense kind of there. I'm sure they would have loved to keep Hassan Reddick, especially now. But
I'm super glad he's gone.
I'm so happy he's gone. But
like, dude, Frank Reich, like, imagine like a CJ Stroud.
Frank Reich with a quarterback that he gets to pick, he gets to choose. I'm not happy about. I'm very worried about that.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. If CJ Stroud falls into the Panthers' laps, I'm gonna feel some type of way about that.
I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they mess around and get CJ Stroud. We get, I don't know, Devin Witherspoon, and it's like, this isn't a fair trade-off.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And we're gonna have a lot to talk about this off season because we like the checkbook is blank. We've got needs everywhere. There's lots of good players out there. So it's gonna be really, really fun. Guys, I think we'll put a nice bow on today's episode, but we do have some good news. We will be back tomorrow, and we will be covering Senior Bowl defensive prospects. We're excited. Like we said, we're on the ground in Mobile, and I know Savion's going to be bringing some of the best DB takes here. Hunter is probably going to be leading the Pickens propaganda machine. And Fleek, I'm excited to hear who you've been watching and who really has stuck out to you so far. So, any closing words? Anything else, guys, before we are back here tomorrow?
Hey, I'm just glad to be back, man. I missed y'all boys. I'm so happy.
Oh, man. Fleek, you should have seen us when we were all in the bar and realized we forgot to record with you or tell you we weren't recording.
Like, so Hunter
was crying in the corner.
Hunter looked at me and he said, yo, what day is today? I said, it's Wednesday. He's like, what day is today? And I said,
yeah.
I was like, hey, that's funny.
I was literally, you can picture me in the corner, my tall ass, just screaming at Hunter, it's Wednesday. And he's like,
Trey walks up, puts
we forgot,
and looks down at me and is like, we forgot Fleek. That's all he said.
I'm not gonna lie.
Man.
I'm not gonna lie. The whole day, I was gonna text. I'm like, are we gonna do it? But I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be like, are we
totally forgot. And then I was like, we really did a show with Aaron today.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
I was like, we did a show with Aaron and we never said anything to Fleek.
But that made it okay to me. When I got to sit there and watch y'all on Locked On Falcons, I was like, okay, this is the podcast. Like, this was beautiful. So y'all
are you saying we're not a podcast, Fleek?
We're glad
we are,
that we have somebody as forgiving as you, Fleek.
Yeah, man.
I swear we all need one.
When I realized we wasn't going, I was like, cool. But when I seen y'all on Locked On, I was like, cool. I was like, okay, them boys still working, so I felt good.
Oh man. Well,
everyone needs a Fleek in their life, 100%. Because wow.
Damn straight.
Oh, well, guys, it's been a great show. Been excited to be here. Carrie, I just want to say we are the worst at managing the chat. Like, I am
sorry. Shout
so
out. Thank you for
sorry.
your
I
happy
know,
birthday
like, you're
wish, too.
gone now, like, but I'm very, very
Yup.
sorry.
Yup.
Adam, we're gonna have to talk about how you can talk to us in the chat and not be at
Oh
the
my
show.
gosh.
We may
But-
have to have I may have to like watch the chat or something. I don't know. We
Bro,
gotta
I normally do
sorry.
it, but I can't do it from my phone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Clearly, the
I was
production team
wondering
here
why we
at New
could
Millennium
see you.
Falcons needs to come up with a game plan. So we
Yeah.
promise we will be better about the chat in the future. Thank
Hunter,
you,
I was
everybody,
Yes,
for
we
coming
will.
out.
Hunter, I was wondering why we could see you. It's supposed to be on your phone. That makes sense.
Makes sense.
Did Trey leave without? Did Trey
What
leave
just
without ending the?
happened?